the mother in the kitchen. Premise: the old house stood on the outskirts of a quiet suburb in rural New England, USA, nestled under ancient oak trees that whispered secrets in the wind. It had belonged to Emily's grandmother, who lived there alone for over 30 years after her husband died in a tragic accident. Grandmother Eleanor was a solitary woman, clinging fiercely to memories of her only daughter Emily herself. When Eleanor passed away 3 months ago from old age, her will left the house to Emily and her small family. Emily, her husband David, and their 5-year-old daughter Sophie decided to move in, escaping the high costs and hustle of city life in Boston. The house seemed like the perfect solution, spacious, serene, and filled with Emily's childhood memories. They arrived on a crisp autumn afternoon. The air inside still carried the faint scent of aged wood and lavender from the backyard garden. Emily felt a wave of relief as she unpacked boxes. David, a busy software engineer, joked with Sophie while carrying suitcases upstairs. "Our new home, kiddo," he said cheerfully. Sophie, with her curly brown hair tied in pigtails, scampered around, exploring every nook. She was particularly drawn to the large kitchen on the ground floor, with its polished wooden cabinets and an antique oven where grandmother Eleanor used to bake pies. That first evening, after dinner, Emily was washing dishes in the kitchen when Sophie ran in and hugged her legs tightly. "Mummy, what are you doing in the kitchen?" she asked innocently. Emily smiled and ruffled her hair. "Washing up, sweetie." "Why?" Sophie looked up with wide eyes. "But Mummy is still in the kitchen." "The kitchen Mummy told me to go upstairs and play with real Mummy." Emily paused for a second, then laughed. "You're imagining things, honey. There's only one Mummy." Sophie shook her head stubbornly. "No, the kitchen Mummy is different from real Mummy. She's making cookies." David, overhearing from the living room, chuckled. "Our girl's got a wild imagination. Probably the new house vibes." Emily nodded, but a subtle unease flickered in her chest. Grandmother Eleanor used to tell her ghost stories as a child, but those were just tales for kids. The initial days passed peacefully. David commuted to work, Emily freelanced as a writer from home for an online magazine, and Sophie played in the garden. The house brought the tranquility they craved, yet Sophie kept repeating that phrase, "Mummy is still in the kitchen." Each time she'd describe details. "Kitchen Mummy gave me candy. Kitchen Mummy sang me a lullaby." Emily and David brushed it off, assuming their daughter was adjusting to the new environment by inventing an imaginary friend. The subtle anomalies the first week felt normal. Emily woke early, brewed coffee in the kitchen, then called David and Sophie down for breakfast. The kitchen was the heart of the home. Tiled floors with vintage patterns, a humming old fridge, and a long wooden table where Eleanor used to sit reading novels. Emily vividly remembered summer afternoons there, with her grandmother sharing stories of her life. "You have to stay with me forever," dear Eleanor would say, her voice laced with an affection that sometimes felt suffocating. One morning, Emily was upstairs changing when she heard Sophie's giggles from the kitchen below. She descended to find her daughter at the table, munching on a cookie. "What are you eating?" Emily asked. Sophie beamed. "Kitchen Mummy gave it to me. Yummy." Emily scanned the kitchen, empty, and she hadn't baked. "Where'd you get it?" Sophie pointed to a cabinet. "Kitchen Mummy took it from there." Emily opened it, spotting an old box of cookies, likely Eleanor's leftovers. She sighed. "Don't take things yourself, okay? It's dangerous." But Sophie insisted. "I didn't. Kitchen Mummy did." David laughed it off. "She's playing pretend. You used to imagine stuff like that as a kid too." Emily agreed, yet a nagging doubt lingered. Eleanor had baked those exact cookies for her, and the scent, it matched perfectly. Coincidence? Surely. The small incidents piled up. One evening, as the family watched TV in the living room, the aroma of food wafted from the kitchen. Emily smelled chicken pot pie, David's favorite. "When did you make that?" David asked, surprised. Emily shook her head. "I didn't. Must be from the neighbors." But entering the kitchen, they found a steaming pie on the table, fresh from the oven. "Who did this?" Emily whispered, her heart racing. David shrugged. "Maybe you forgot, or I did it earlier." They both knew otherwise. Sophie bounded in. "Kitchen Mummy made it for Daddy. I saw her." Emily rationalized. Perhaps someone in the house did it absent-mindedly, or a draft carried the smell. But that night, lying beside David, she couldn't sleep. Chopping sounds echoed from the kitchen knife on cutting board, rhythmic and deliberate, like someone prepping vegetables. "Do you hear that?" Emily murmured. David, half asleep, probably the wind. "Go to sleep." Emily lay still, listening. The chopping ceased, followed by a faint whisper. "Eat up, dear Mummy, made it for you." It sounded like Eleanor's voice, but softer, warmer. The next morning the kitchen was spotless, no traces. Emily checked everywhere, doors locked, no signs of intrusion. I'm imagining it, she told herself. But Sophie recounted, last night, kitchen mummy sang to me. She said she loves me so much. Emily hugged her, but Sophie squirmed slightly. Real mummy, kitchen mummy is warmer. The innocent words chilled Emily. The subtleties persisted. Emily's scarf appeared on the kitchen table despite being left in the bedroom. David found fresh coffee brewed at dawn, though he hadn't risen. Sophie drew family pictures with two mummies, one upstairs, one in the kitchen. Kitchen mummy smiles nicer, she said. Emily started noting them down, seeking patterns. None emerged, just minor differences, repeating, making the house feel unsafe. David downplayed it. Old house, maybe rats or something. Don't worry. But Emily noticed his eyes sometimes distant, as if recalling something. One evening he shared, I came home early today, saw you cooking in the kitchen. Why didn't you come up? Emily froze. I was upstairs all day. David forced a smile. Must have been tired. The initial peace eroded into silence. Emily avoided the kitchen, cooking hastily, then retreating upstairs. Sophie, conversely, lingered there alone, whispering to kitchen mummy. Emily eavesdropped. Real mummy gets mad sometimes. Kitchen mummy is better. Emily's heart clenched. The home's supposed sanctuary morphed into a mental labyrinth, where familiarity twisted into wrongness. The seeds of doubt. By the second week, Emily sensed her family shifting, not drastically, but in subtle strokes, like a painting overlaid. David still left for work on time, but he'd gaze at Emily oddly, as if comparing. You seem different today, he remarked once, as she wore an old dress. How so? Emily probed. I don't know. Just ... gentler. Emily smiled thinly, but suspicion brewed. Sophie was more overt. She grew distant from Emily. Mornings, when Emily woke her, Sophie grumbled, I want kitchen mummy to wake me. Emily tried hugging, but Sophie pushed away. Real mummy is cold. Kitchen mummy is cozy. Emily pressed. What does kitchen mummy look like? Sophie described. Like real mummy, but longer hair. Smiles more. She never yells. Emily glanced in the mirror. Her hair was short, and lately stress made her snappish. How did Sophie know? One afternoon, Emily wrote upstairs when laughter floated from the kitchen. She went down to see Sophie eating cookies, beside a plate of peeled fruit. Who peeled that? Emily asked. Kitchen mummy, Sophie replied casually. Emily checked. The peeler was wet, untouched by her. Her pulse quickened. Don't joke with me. Sophie stared coldly. I'm not. Real mummy doesn't believe me. David began confusing things. One night, he came home and hugged Emily from behind. Thanks for the great dinner, but she hadn't cooked. On the table sat a hot lasagna, his favorite. I didn't make it, Emily said. David frowned. But I saw you in the kitchen. You were in that blue sweater, stirring the pot. Emily wore white. Dreaming, Emily suggested. David shook his head. Tired, I guess. Let's eat. Family memories blurred. During dinner, David reminisced. Remember last night's fun meal? Your jokes were hilarious. Emily stared. I was exhausted yesterday, went to bed early. Who did you eat with? David pondered. Must be mixing days. Sophie interjected. I ate with kitchen mummy. She told stories about grandma. The atmosphere soured. Once warm and lively, meals turned silent. Emily felt sidelined. David hugged her less. Sophie evaded her birth mother. Emily doubted herself. Am I going crazy? She reviewed security footage, but the old house had none. She installed a camera, but recordings were fuzzy, showing vague shadows in the kitchen. One night, replaying, Emily spotted a woman resembling her cooking, then vanishing. Hallucination, she muttered. But Sophie saw. That's kitchen mummy. Estrangement deepened. David sat alone in the kitchen, sipping coffee, then said, I just talked to you here. Why'd you go up so fast? Emily had been upstairs. Sophie wanted to sleep in the kitchen, but Emily forbade it. Late nights, Emily heard lullabies from below. Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Mummy's here forever. The voice mimicked Emily's, but sweeter. Emily suspected her own mind. The house seemed to devour her, turning loved ones into strangers. Their gazes, not loving, but appraising. Real mummy isn't mummy, Sophie whispered once. Emily wept, unanswered. The truth and the haunting. Emily couldn't endure it. She scoured the house for clues. In the kitchen, under loose floorboards, she uncovered a hidden compartment. Inside Eleanor's old belongings, photos, letters, and a worn leather journal. The journal started from Emily's childhood. Eleanor wrote, My daughter is everything. I can't lose her. After my husband died, she's all I have. Later, pages darkened. Emily wants to move away for college, but I won't let her. I must keep her forever. I've created a duplicate habits, words, to never lose motherhood. She described mimicking Emily's voice, dressing alike, even conversing with an imaginary Emily in the kitchen. The kitchen is the warmest place. Here, I have my daughter eternally. Emily trembled reading it. Eleanor had psychological issues, personality disorder, delusions of retention. She penned, "When Emily has her own family, I'll leave the duplicate behind. The house will preserve the bond. The mother in the kitchen will replace, so no one is alone." Emily realized the mother in the kitchen was Eleanor's obsession, permeating the house. Not supernatural, but a psychological trap, memories, scents, sounds evoking it, making the family subconsciously manifest the duplicate. Emily was the victim. Eleanor wanted to keep her. Now the duplicate supplanted her. The climax hit on a stormy night. Emily entered the kitchen to find David and Sophie dining with a woman identical to her. Not real, an illusion, but they laughed joyfully. "Honey," David called the duplicate. Sophie hugged. "Kitchen mummy is the best." Emily screamed, "That's not me," but they eyed her as an intruder. "What's wrong with you?" David asked. Emily charged, pulling them away, but the duplicate whispered, "Mummy's here forever." Emily fled to the garden, sobbing in the rain. Morning came. She returned. David and Sophie glanced. "Sleep well." Their eyes alien. Sophie murmured, "Where's real mummy gone?" Emily stays, fighting back, but daily she fades more. Will the family recognize her, or will the real mother be fully replaced, leaving her a ghost in her own home? The house safest haven now, a mental prison, where love twists into horror.